The next thing here, staying in the AAC would be easier to leave for a Power 4 invite. But then last but not least, the question here, hey, by the way, when's that P4 invite going to come? Seriously, when's it going to come? Where? You tell me when. Give me the date. Okay, other than that, you're staying in the AAC. Good luck to your sports programs. What's going on, everybody? It's Jake back with Master Football here. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, hit that red subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you like EA college football content, go subscribe to my other channel, the MF Film Room. Link is in the description. But enough about all that college football content. Let's go. Oh boy, I will let you guys know, I haven't been posting as much on this channel as I have on the other channel. And the reason why is because I really got to enjoy this year of college football. It was one of, if not my favorite seasons of college football ever, especially from a Boise State fan's perspective. It was so cool. I went to the Oregon game. I went to the UNLV game in UNLV. I went to the CFP game. I went to the Fiesta Bowl. It was awesome to be all there. But now at the same time, that season is done. Your Ohio State football team is the national champs, and we are in a spot where, as much as there's still football, there's still NFL football going on. I know the Pro Bowl is going on, but let's be honest here. But we've got the same thing that comes up every single offseason. We've got recruiting, and then as soon as recruiting is done, it's conference realignment time. And with conference realignment time, there's been some news that's coming out that I think a lot of people think is kind of a it doesn't have any ancillary stories from it, but I'm here to show you that there's a ton of stories that can be drawn from something that just came out, according to Ross Dellenger. So this is from Ross Dellenger over here on yahoo.com. I'm going to make sure this link is included in the description here. He says that the ACC is in the process of extending the TV contract with ESPN for 9 more years. Now, for the uninitiated here, what that means is that there was a rumor, and according to the way that the contract was written, that the contract that was originally signed in 2016 for 20 years out to 2036 stated that if it wasn't renewed by ESPN a month from now in 2025, then the deal would end in 2027. That has been avoided. As you see, it says it was going to expire in 2027. However, they're extending it to 2036. The deal remains mostly unchanged. However, there's been some very, very key language in here to talk about this, because a lot of people thought, oh, well, Florida State, Clemson, they're trying to sue the league, they're trying to leave the league. However, check this out. It says the ACC presidents met Wednesday for a briefing and are expected to accept, if they have not already done so, the network's extension, though there is little to no other options. Within the ACC's deal with the ESPN, the network, now the league is afforded the option to extend the package by its own discretion. As part of the scheduling arrangement under discussion, and this is where I'm telling you, all you people who thought the ACC was going to fall apart, some of that narrative is going to be dying down now. It says the league's biggest brands, Florida State, Miami, and Clemson, are expected to play more football games regularly with Notre Dame. Remember, Notre Dame, not a Big Ten team, not an SEC team, but still playing in that national championship game. The Irish are expected to play at the very least 2 to 3 of the 3 of each season in rotation. It says the extension paves the way for the league to potentially finalize a settlement with Clemson and Florida State that would keep them in the conference under the possible alterations to the conference grant of rights and the league's revenue distribution. As Yahoo Sports reported in September, the sides, negotiating for months, are inching closer to a resolution. So the big question with that resolution is it one of these things where they're going to say, hey, we're going to give you unequal revenue distribution to make sure that Florida is on par with Florida State, to make sure Clemson is on par with South Carolina, some of those sorts of schools there? Or is it going to be something to where they shorten up that deal, like, fine, you can leave it after X amount of time? I wouldn't be surprised if the ACC, seeing what happened to the Pac-12, is like, no, we will give you that type of revenue. We'll give you that, that top brand bump that we want to make sure to get you up there to be competing with those SEC and Big Ten schools to make sure that you guys can survive. With that, though, and with that narrative there, even the fact that SMU went to the CFP, Clemson did too, to be fair, but SMU went to the CFP, a team that's not going to be in this negotiation here. Still, remember here, 60% of something's better than 100% of nothing. If you are in the league, you're Wake Forest, you'll do whatever you can to keep those top teams around, because you don't want to be a Washington State or an Oregon State for the next round of realignment. Now, Dennis Dodd says here, he says, realignment now stands down for a while. ESPN takes advantage of the cost certainty, the reason the deal was so long in the first place, by extending the ACC deal. And then we see this here. Realignment for the ACC and up stands down for a while. This is me But looking at this here, Memphis and Tulane are currently looking at conference games against FAU, less than 500 for 4 straight years, Rice, less than 500 every year since 2014, and Charlotte, greater than 500 once since 2015. The Pac-12 will be calling and make the dollars work. Now, if you check out myself here, I'm covering up my face here, but I actually posted a video on this a couple months ago, about 4 months ago, talking about this like, hey, is the ACC learning? Are they going to address this situation? Again, we had no idea this was going to happen, but it looks like they're starting to address it. I basically said, Memphis, if ACC is not going to call, if the Big 12 is not going to call, why don't you come on over? Well, ultimately, their AD, he answered that, but not in the way I wanted him to. The Memphis AD, Ed Scott, he says the Tigers turned down a bad deal from the Pac-12. Remember here, with that deal, what it was in terms of what they got paid from the American, what they got paid from the new Pac-12 deal, what their travel arrangements would be, everything like that. He basically said, I don't really know if this is going to work for us. He said, remember, very, very candidly, he said, right now, this deal at this point, he had however many... He had a zillion little asterisks around what he said. Oh, well, maybe. Now, right now, with this deal, he never said, we will never join the Pac-12. He said, right now, this deal, I didn't get a good deal. However, looking at this right here, it looks like Pac-12 might potentially be the only ticket in town, and a lot of Memphis fans were very upset at this. Grind City Media does a really good job on a lot of Memphis sports, and I really appreciate them. Go check out their channel down here. But if you check out this video, I'm not going to play it, obviously, for copyright reasons, but you can see, especially based on the chapters that they have here, what they were thinking. This is coming out after they turned down that Pac-12 deal. They're like, listen, or the AD said, listen, I'm not going to do this. And these fans here are sitting there saying, okay, well, this is way better league. This is a way better league in many instances in basketball and in football. So it's better. The Pac-12 is better than the AAC. What are we going to do here? How do you do it? You need to take a leap of faith. Memphis cannot afford to gamble. He said they cannot afford not to gamble. Was what he was trying to say. He says Memphis is already in a bad league. They're in mediocrity right now. The AAC will not get any better. No one is interested in Memphis. The Big 12 or the ACC may potentially call, but they may potentially not. You've been talking about getting to a better league for 20 years now. That bigger league is the Pac-12 at this point. You said no. However, I'm telling you right now, that is going to be reconsidered. Something that was really interesting that a lot of people didn't consider that happened the other day, just this other day, the 28th, happening on Tuesday, about 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, my time. The awesome athletic director for Boise State Boise State University, Jeremiah Dickey, comes forward and he says, "Fortune favors the bold, transformational, no fear. Movement creates opportunities. We won't stop. Going to be epic. See you soon, Boise." So again, that's 7 p.m. on Tuesday. He leaves. This article is Thursday early morning. So the end of the day on Tuesday, the beginning of the day on Thursday. What happened on Wednesday? Something happened here. I'm just taking a bet here that whatever Ross Dellenger was finding out is the same thing that the Pac-12 ADs, the same thing that the ACC ADs, the same thing that the AAC ADs, everybody kind of was finding out about it right around the same time that, hey, here's the deal. There's nowhere else to go. The AAC isn't getting any better. The ACC is not calling. The Big 12 is not calling. The Pac-12 needs some more teams. What are we doing here? I would not be surprised if there was a conversation, a lot of different things here happening between the AD, Jeremiah Dickey, and a lot of the ADs out there. Because, again, super, super cryptic tweet. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm doing the Brian Windhorst. Now, why is that? Tuesday night, I'm going over here. Thursday morning, something happened yesterday. What happened on Wednesday? Oh, well, this happened on Wednesday. You don't really know, but I know that all of this stuff is aligning just a little bit too much for me not to notice some patterns. So these are the assumptions that people had about a week ago. Everybody says, oh, well, Florida State and Clemson, they're soon to leave the league. You know, they're going to leave it soon. Memphis, Tulane, and South Florida are on the short list to replace them as they head out the door. However, now, a week ago, that's what the narrative was, what our assumptions were. Now, the ACC may survive, and Memphis, Tulane, and South Florida are not in the plans of the Big Ten, not in the plans of the SEC, they're not in the plans of the Big 12, and they're not in the plans of the ACC. So looking at the options here. So I want to make sure I lay this out perfectly for everybody to understand this here. Remember here, if you're Memphis, if you're Tulane, if you're South Florida, what's the plan? That's the title of this video. What is your plan? What are you going to do here about this? All right, oh, we're going to get an invite to independence. But the Big Four aren't calling. The Pac-12 is giving you an invite. You've already received it. Consider it because it's the best thing you've got going for you. Thinking about this right now, oh, well, you're going to stay in the AAC. It's a conference that it has less travel requirements than the Pac-12. Obviously, we understand that. Moving to the Pac-12, it's clearly a step up from the ACC, the AAC in football and men's basketball. Oh, well, with the rumored conference payouts would not be much higher than current payout. I think John Wilner says it's going to be around $10 million. However, payouts can be negotiated as well as travel expenses. Conference opponents aren't as negotiable. You still have to play Charlotte. You still have to play FAU. You still have to play UAB. You still have to play, Rice. Those are the teams you're looking at, as opposed to Washington State, Boise State, San Diego State, Gonzaga. Those are big time opponents in big time sports. What are you trying to do here? I'm just saying. The next thing here, staying in the AC would be easier to leave for a Power 4 invite. But then last but not least, the question here, hey, by the way, when's that P4 invite going to come? Seriously, when's it going to come? Where? You tell me when. Give me the date. Okay, other than that, you're staying in the AAC. Good luck to your sports programs. Now, if I were in charge, this is just me being me. If I were in charge right now, I'm Jeremiah Dickey. I'm assuming homeboy's cooking. People say, oh, well, he was only clearly talking about something else. He's already told me what he's talking about. You don't know what he's talking about, okay? You know that he's probably there cooking up some deals, working some things out. I would not, if I were in charge, if I were Jeremiah Dickey and I were talking to Teresa Gold of the Pac-12, I would immediately try, because we know that the ACC, if they can keep these things together for 9 more years, and maybe beyond that, we'll see what happens, you would immediately need to attempt to add Memphis, Tulane, and South Florida. Okay, you would have 9 football playing members and 10 overall with Gonzaga. You'd have an 8-game football schedule and have 2 5-team non-revenue sports divisions. Now, that's very important. You still want Gonzaga to play Memphis in basketball. You still want to be able to do that. But Gonzaga does not need to play Memphis in, girls golf or, men's track or something like that. That's not really that important. You don't need to do that. You set it up to where Boise State, Fresno State, Oregon State, San Diego State, and Washington State, they all travel to each other, limiting the travel for them. And then Colorado State, Memphis, Tulane, USF, and Utah State head out east. And I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, well, just that travel for Utah State and for Colorado State is going to be ridiculous. The cost of those plane tickets is going to be crazy. This is actually kind of cool, but the Tampa International Airport, if you check this out, where they fly direct to, out west, they fly direct to Denver, and they fly direct to Salt Lake City. You can't say that. Again, this is crazy. You can't say that for Memphis to San Antonio, who are already in a league with each other. So yes, Memphis basketball traveling to UTSA basketball is going to be a chartered flight. But the golf's not. The tennis isn't. The track isn't. So realistically, it's actually cheaper for USF to play Colorado State and Utah State in those non-revenue sports. Again, same thing here with the Memphis airport. Okay, we come down here and we've got good old Denver right there. Whereas Denver with the 3 airlines at Frontier, Southwest, and United. And then you come down here at the very end, and you can see Salt Lake with Delta flight. So again, Memphis flies direct to Salt Lake and Denver. So does Tampa. And last but not least, New Orleans does too. New Orleans flies direct to Denver. They fly direct to Salt Lake. They even fly direct to San Diego. So it's one of those deals where I'm telling you, everywhere in the league, you're gonna be fine if you take those 2 members, San Diego or Colorado State and Utah State, and send them east. It actually would work out for non-revenue sports. Now that's one option, but me being me, I'm a little more aggressive. Okay, I would also consider adding UTSA and Texas State. You want to make sure those eastern side schools have a little bit of a what's the term I want to say here? You've got some volume to kind of work with out there. You'd have 11 football playing members and 12 overall. You have a 9-game football schedule, play all but one every year. Everybody would play, so there'd be 11 football playing members, but you're 1, so you play 10, so you'd only play 9. There's 1 team you wouldn't be playing, and you have 2 6-team non-revenue sports divisions. The West would be Boise State, Fresno State, Oregon State, San Diego State, Utah State, Washington State, and the East would be Colorado State, Memphis, Texas State, Tulane, USF, and UTSA. I'm telling you, that's what I would do. I know a lot of you guys are thinking like, where's UNLV managing all this? Unfortunately, this is where they manage in it. So Mike Whitman here, he says, I'm not saying I'm super in the know or anything, but as of yesterday, I was hearing for that UNLV, it's a P4 invite or the Mountain West for them. But with anything in the conference realignment, I'm sure everything's subject to change. And I commented, so it's the Mountain West. In fact, so much so that there was some smoke. And again, this smoke was coming out a couple days ago. You see this right here on the 29th. This was what was released at 11:58 in the morning, or 11:53 in the morning, Which again, you're thinking, okay, what the hell happened either late Tuesday night or Wednesday or early Wednesday morning? It was released on Thursday morning. What the hell happened on the 29th? Because we come out here and we see the fact that Gloria Nevarez had this post right here basically stating there's been a good deal of speculation recently, but all of our members that have signed the grant of rights are with us. UNLV signed a grant of rights. UNLV's out. So if you're worried about somebody taking up that spot, if you're Memphis or Tulane or USF, they're not. They're actually looking to potentially expand east. They want you guys in. You've already invited you guys, and you have nowhere to go. Those Grind City media guys, those Memphis fans had a very, very good point. Like, what's the plan? What are we doing here? Where are we supposed to go? Are we just going to stay here and we're going to go as far as we want to go in basketball by staying here? I don't see it with the AAC. The Pac-12 has invited you guys. They're still kind of figuring things out. The ACC is not coming, at least for a couple years now. We know that for at least potentially a decade. If you're Memphis, you've been waiting for 20 years, turn it into 30, maybe even 40, or you can change your lives right now. That Big 12 invite's not coming. The ACC invite's not coming. The SEC's not coming. The Big Ten's not coming. Go out west with a couple of members out there. Again, you'll establish things up for those non-revenue sports. You can lower costs in lots of different ways. What you can't do is you can't find another Boise State in football. You can't find another Gonzaga in basketball. If you're Memphis, Tulane, and I'm going to even add South Florida, head out west to the Pac-12. All right, guys, get in the comments right now. Let me know what you guys think. Personally, I think that this is a no-brainer at this point. The ACC was an opportunity. Those top teams leave. They go and they backfill with, they've already got, SMU out there. Maybe you had a team out there in New Orleans. Maybe a team in Tampa. Maybe a team in Memphis, Tennessee. You bring them out. That made a little bit more sense. That's not on the table anymore. So unfortunately, unless you know something I don't know, based on the reports that everybody's seeing, when something's going on behind the scenes here, and it doesn't look like the ACC is going to fall apart. They're learning from the Pac-12's mistakes. However, the new version of the Pac-12 is going to definitely try to survive by making themselves the premier conference that's below the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and Big 12. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. That's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.